Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mega Man Maker. Just yesterday, Mega Man Maker version 1.3 was released, and it brought a whole slew of new additions. Much of them were expected, but some of them were rather unexpected. So this episode will focus on covering all of these new additions. The first part will focus on the new features, whereas the second part will focus on the two new levels that were added to the example levels category. So without further ado, let's begin. First off, I'll cover the new tile sets. If there's one way to summarize all the new additions that were kind of expected, they all come from Mega Man 4 and Mega Man 5. Similar to how in version 1.2, most of the updates or new content packs were focused from Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3. And I suppose version 1.4 will focus on Mega Man 6 or something. So in Mega Man 4, we have Cossack 1 tile, Cossack 3 tile, and Wily 1 and Wily 2. From Mega Man 5, we have Darkman stages 1, 2, 3, and 4, as well as Wily Tile 1. Now, in terms of backgrounds, we have Cossack stages 1 through 4, as well as Wily stages 1, 2, and 3. For Mega Man 5, we have Darkman stages 1, 2, 3, and 4, as well as Wily 2, 3, and 4. We're missing Wily 1 though, unfortunately. Speaking of which, there was a change to the Charger Man background. Background 1 scrolls at 30 FPS, I believe, whereas background 2 scrolls at 60 FPS. Let me do a double check. Yeah, I think this is the one. Let me test it out quickly. Never mind, this doesn't actually scroll. Originally, background 2 only scrolled at 30 FPS, whereas now it scrolls at 60 FPS, so it's a lot smoother. It makes it feel like you're actually on a transporting train. Anyways, on to the more interactive aspects, starting with the enemies. Thankfully, all the new enemies in Mega Man 4 are added after the Gachapon. We have the Minoans, the Wall Blaster 1s, not Wall Blaster 2 though, that's in Mega Man 6, the Totem Pole Ends, the Picado 24s, even though they're not really that popular, as evidenced in Magmol 2, mainly due to the fact that when it decides to be vulnerable when it fires is random in the original game. I wonder if that was changed over here, and that's what the description is referencing, everyone's favorite, sarcastically. We have the Dockrons from Skullman stage, a spawner of Dockrons, the Mimiras or Mummies, the Gyriobis aka the Chainsaw or Saw Blade Spines, as well as the Whoppers, which I mistakenly keep calling Ring Rings back in Magmol 2, no they're Whoppers. So it's nice to see a new mini-boss added with this update. From Mega Man 5, we have the Bomb/Rocktrons, depending on the color, otherwise no difference. We have the Metal Cannons. We do not have the Cannon Joes yet, but this will work. We have the Subiels, the Gyries, hopefully we'll have the Byries later. We have a Spawner for some reason. Tonderal, Pukapucker, as well as Bounder from Gravity Man stage. You know, in the future, I would like to consolidate all the spawners so that you can universally spawn almost anything, like almost any enemy or mini-boss. That'd be neat. But probably that will require too much space when trying to encode it for online, or perhaps it requires too much coding. Still, I would like something similar to Magmol 2, that would open up a lot more flexibility to spawning in new stuff, like for example Pukapellis, Shield Attackers, Lyrics, etc, etc. Now on to the new gimmicks. From Mega Man 4, we have the ring platforms, which fold in from the left when stepped on, as well as the reverse ring platform or coil platform from the right, as well as a quicksand or rather slow sand, because you only slowly sink into it. I wonder though, if there's a screen transition to the bottom and you sink through the quicksand, will you make it through? That'd open up some interesting shortcuts. For Mega Man 5, we have the Rolling Drill spawner, as well as the Maze or Techion from Waveman stage. The Rolling Drill is actually quite interesting because this is the first gimmick that directly alters the terrain that Mega Man goes off of. A similar one in reverse would be the Drillman switches from Mega Man 4, but those create terrain or add new stuff. This just deletes, well, it just insta-gives players, enemies, and eats blocks and other gimmicks. So with this, you can effectively alter the terrain dynamically and open up new parts of the stage. Before, this wasn't possible in Mega Man Maker, but now it is. Hopefully the drill mass switches are added in the future, that'd be neat to see. As for the new bosses, from Mega Man 4 we have Ringman, Skullman, who kills. I wish there was a formal description of what he did. From Mega Man 5 we have Crystal Man as well as Charge Man. Charge Man has been a long-awaited addition for me, mainly due to how useful his special weapon has been throughout this entire LP series. Better late than never, I suppose. I just wonder how random he is in this version. So that's it for bosses. Now let's move on to something else unique. In the health section, we actually have a new addition. We have health spawners, which continuously spawn health pickups, as well as weapon energy spawners, which do the similar thing but for weapon energy pickups. To showcase this, let me quickly create a stage here, using Darkman Tree. Really like the shiny tile set over here. And now place both the health spawner as well as the weapon energy spawner. And for fun, let me just put a Whopper over there or some. Let me put a Bounder here, which will probably despawn immediately. I want to test that out. As well as a Bombtron and Rocktron here. And that Bounder immediately despawned itself. As you can see there, once I take some damage, I can refill right over here. And immediately as I get off of it, it respawns. So now, in future stages where there need to be some farming locations, we do not need to rely on any RNG of Tellies, Pukapellis, etc, etc. Now we have a consistent way of regenerating health and energy. I don't recall this being in any Mega Man game or fan game I've played, maybe in some ROM hacks, but I really welcome this addition. Now we don't need to hack some of the drop tables, for example in Magmal 2, or rather the drop rates, so I really welcome this addition. Now onto the special weapons themselves. We have the Drill Bomb from Mega Man 4, high damage bomb that can be exploded remotely with a press of an A button. I didn't mean that, but I'll put it over here. From Mega Man 5 we have the upgraded and buffed Power Stone, which deals more damage and it goes out much faster, so now it's actually useful instead of in Mega Man 5, where it was mostly useless, even against its weakness, or even against the Roadmaster it's strong against, which is Charge Man. Now it's somewhat useful. We also have the Crystal Eye, which is also more useful for a certain reason, as well as the Water Wave, which you can now fire when jumping. Unfortunately, there is no interaction with water. Last but not least, in terms of utilities, we have the Super Arrow from Mega Man 5. This is one of my favorite utilities throughout the series, other than the Rush utilities. I loved it in Magmal 2 because of how versatile it is. You can use it to attack enemies, create platforms, ride off of it, and it can stick to walls and reflecting blocks here. Super useful overall. Now to showcase them, let me place another enemy over here. Sure, let's put the Whopper here, why not? And there is the smoothly scrolling background. As you can see, it goes out much faster and have 28 uses. This is more useful for rather weak foes because this also pierces through enemies. In fact, let me do this right now. Let me spawn in a lot of Pukapellis, if I can figure out where they were placed. I know this was actually shown in the update video. As you can see here, the rocks last for quite a while before they despawn, in fact. Let's see if I can respawn them. Nope. Let's try it again. Never mind, they actually pierce through all these enemies. They only get destroyed if they can't destroy the enemy in one shot, I think. Here's the drill bomb. I can detonate it remotely, of course, and it detonates on contact with enemies. Crystal Eye. A lot more useful because it can actually spam it. And classic Super Arrow. As you can see over there, I can actually spam it a lot, which makes it a lot more useful in comparison to Mega Man 5. It's best used against really strong foes though. And here's the water wave. It spawns those 3 water waves which can hit foes 3 times. And when you're jumping, you'll fire a spout which then spawns the water wave. Of interesting note is that the spout itself seems to deal about the same amount of damage as the water wave, each water wave fragment. It seems to depend on enemies though, I'm not sure. So it seems to be better to just spawn in the water wave to multi-hit foes instead of using the water spout. Okay, even if it can't destroy a foe, it just pierces right through them, which is also another good upgrade. I believe in the original one, it didn't pierce through enemies, it got destroyed. So a major buff to most of the weapons, especially the Power Stone, which now is going to be super useful against waves of smaller, weaker foes, like Pukapellis, Tellies, Take Tentos, etc, etc. Water Wave is a little bit better because you can use it in midair, but I honestly prefer the version from Make a Good 24-hour Mega Man level, where you can spawn in midair and it falls immediately below you. And you can't do it over here by pressing down and fire, unfortunately. Drill Bomb is still awesome. Crystal Eye is more useful because you can spawn multiple of them at once, even if they shatter upon hitting an enemy or an obstruction. So these are all of the expected upgrades. So now let's move on to the unexpected upgrade, or unexpected addition. Like with how version 1.2 added the keys, key doors, as well as weapon capsules, allowing for the creation of true Metroidvania levels, this update adds new players, or rather 2 new playable characters, Proto Man and Bass. I totally didn't expect this to happen. In fact, when I first saw the thumbnail for version 1.3, I thought they were adding fortress bosses, specifically Yellow Devil, but no, that was just a silhouette for Bass. Each of the characters has their own unique characteristics, as well as physics in the case of Bass. So let's start with Proto Man. He can slide and charge just like Mega Man can, and he has an optional double damage taken, or basically his armor is half effective, as well as the Proto Strike. So let's start out with the defaults. Replace Mega Man over here. He starts out with his signature tune. And whenever he jumps, he can deflect any projectile, similar to the Shine, but you need to be jumping, you can't raise it on mid-ground. And he actually has a different sound effect for his charging. I want to test something there though and see if his charge shot deals more damage, because that one shot that rock thrown over there. And I keep accidentally shooting them. Let's try it again. Okay, Proto Man's charge shot here deals the same amount of damage as Mega Man at base. However, if we go into the settings over here, we can switch over to player abilities, which is a new feature as well. We have the sliding and charge shots, of course, but we can also turn on double damage for Proto Man, meaning that he'll take double damage, not deal double damage, as well as enable the Proto Strike, and double jump for Bass, but we'll get to that. Proto Strike basically means infinite charge shots, so Proto Man becomes basically broken. It's like having an infinite special weapon for charge shots, and considering how powerful charge shots are in this engine, well, you basically just destroy the challenge. I worry though in some casual levels where you have junk blocks that this can be more of a problem, more than anything else, but that's for specific levels. As you can see, Proto Man takes a truckload of damage now. Oh good, when you fire a charge shot there's also a different sound effect too, to distinguish it. So that's basically Proto Man. Jump, shoot, slide. Can have an upgraded charge shot to just spam everywhere. And can also potentially take double damage if you want to. Now onto the more creative character, or more flexible, Base. He can dash and shoot in 7 directions, and he's an optional double jump. So to showcase it over here, here's double jump, here's me firing upwards, left, top right, top left, bottom right, bottom left, etc, etc. But of course, there are a few problems with Base, as opposed to Mega Man and Proto Man. First off, Base cannot shoot through any of these tile sets, so you need to aim more carefully. Also, he cannot just run and shoot. He has to stand still when shooting, unlike Mega Man and Proto Man. That may be a problem in certain challenges where you need to keep running and shooting. At the very least, if you're jumping, you can continuously fire. But you can't just run and shoot. And by dash jumping, you can extend the horizontal distance you go through, without wasting how high you go up. So no need to worry about not jumping high enough. Unfortunately, the base buster shots deal half the amount of damage as Mega Man and Proto Man's base damage. So for example, these bomb drones would originally take about 3 points of damage to destroy, now they take 6 points. So keep that in mind when going with base, there's no way to upgrade that. It's not like in Mega Man and Base, where you can get potential upgrades, or the ability to shoot through walls. This will become more of a problem during boss fights, probably. In addition to the inclusion of 2 new characters, there was something added by the devs of Mega Man Maker that allows you to switch between characters within the stages themselves. And they're called character capsules, similar to weapon capsules. This will change your character to the character shown in the capsule itself when touched. So for example, if I were to put Base over here, and then put Proto Man right over here, just want to do some fun stuff over here. And turn back on the Proto Strike. Using that, I can immediately switch to the character shown in that capsule. And they'll still maintain the global settings that we set in the level editor. So this opens up a whole slew of new opportunities, what with gauntlets and everything else. Like other Metroidvania levels, perhaps with level select options or character select options at certain points. I can think of several puzzle levels that can utilize this to good effect. Nonetheless, the addition of 2 new character types, each with their own moves, especially with Base with the double jump and dashing, opens up a whole slew of new potential updates in the future. Like for example, following in the footsteps of Mega Man 1 Powered Up, where we can include all the Mega Man 1 Roadmasters, each with their own special weapons and physics abilities. Just imagine going further to Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3. It's another nice orthogonal feature that was added in version 1.3, similar to the keys, key doors, and weapon capsules in version 1.2. All of these were rather unexpected. We had the expected content drops with the Mega Man 4 and Mega Man 5 stuff, as well as the weapons, but not this. I'm really thankful and glad that the Mega Man Maker devs aren't just sticking to the tried and true stuff in Mega Man 4, 5, the classic games, etc, etc. They're branching out to things that were never in the classic games. Oh yeah, I almost forgot of one other thing that only Base has access to, and that is the treble boost. Unfortunately, Base does not have access to the rush jet or the rush coil, so instead we have the treble boost. What it does is it allows Base to fly for a limited amount of time, and we can fire spread shots while it's equipped. So let's try it out. Keep in mind though that we do have inertia, and unfortunately even though it's a spread shot, it's best to use it up close to enemies, because we cannot fire another spread shot until all the projectiles go off screen or are despawned. Nonetheless, I'm really enjoying all of these upgrades, so this concludes the first part of this episode which is covering all the new features. Now moving on to the second part of this episode, where I'll cover the 2 new example levels that were added in this update, those being Automata Fortress as well as Escape from the Space Station Puzzle. Both of these are winners from the 2017 Mega Man Maker level design contest. However, the third winner isn't included here, so after I complete these 2 levels I will cover it here. Might as well give it some time to shine, it should have been here. So first off, Automata Fortress. This was the first place winner in the non-traditional category, aka usually special weapons oriented stage. This is by Nickelasse. Another neat feature that was added in version 1.3, which I've been asking for, is that whenever you start a stage, regardless if it's online or offline, you'll be able to see what is enabled and disabled, like what type of charge shot you have, whether you have sliding or not, as well as what special weapons you have. I've been asking for that ever since the beginning of this LP series, so I'm glad to see it here. The next thing I'd like to see is how long each stage is based on the number of screens. At least give me the numerical screen count, even if it's a little bit inaccurate with stages with multiple pathways. So this stage is going to focus on usage of the Flash Stopper special weapon and timing. So we need to time the usage of Flash Stopper there and drop down here in order to blow open that thing. Same here with the timing. Good checkpoint placement. For stages that are a lot more instant death happy, the checkpoint density should be higher. I need to blow open that weapon box somehow. But I need to have the Mega Buster out, so I'm guessing this is how I do it. Yeah, that's how you do it. And that's how you go through that segment. Now I just need to deal with all of these hotheads. Or just ignore them, that works too. Okay, we need to wait a little bit over here. A bit of a tap jump over there, a bit scary. And there's the next checkpoint. So the main goal of this stage is timing your movements as well as usage of the Flash Stopper. The timing there didn't work in my favor. Well, at least all these checkpoints have special weapon drops, so there's no chance of you getting soft locked and being forced to restart the stage. I held right over there, but it didn't register for whatever reason. There we go, that's how we're supposed to do it properly. Now onto the second half of the level, I suppose. I also like how in the background we can see those rings that enclose those Yoko blocks to indicate when the next thing is coming. Oh, I see. I can hide up there. That's how we do it. And now we get out of there. Clever challenges. I'll give the level designer that. It definitely deserves to be a highly ranked stage. It's a 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 in my book, considering what it's going for. We need to make sure not to activate that count bomb there. This is something unique. Whenever we have the time stop using Flash Stopper, we can't activate those count bombs, which was utilized really well over here. And that's how we get through there. Good checkpoint placement as always. And none of these placements are jerkish. And that was me not paying attention to what was going on. That was my fault, not the level designer's fault. All these failures are for the most part my fault, or in 2 cases the engine's. I prefer those than the level designer. Yeah, I'll reset over there because I don't think I have enough weapon energy. That's how we do it. None of these Yoku block patterns are on the jerkish side. Major plus. I was a bit scared over there. Hello, Benkei. Good thing I can attack over whatever you're throwing at me. Takes 13 hits to destroy them, though. Wait a minute, we can fire right through the Benkeis like that? I didn't expect you could do that. That kinda makes sense though, because they're twirling around something for a shield, and we just shoot right through them because they're not spinning around anymore. Very clever stage, at least an 8 out of 10. But in the future I'll need to play through all the other levels that were submitted under that category to see how well it stands against its peers. Second up is Escape from the Space Station Puzzle by Meka. I've played one of Meka's stages before, a small Metroidvania level. This won first place under the challenge category, so this is going to be kind of a challenge level. I wonder how difficult it's going to be though. Probably at least 30 screens long, or 20 screens long. We're going to have access to the dive missile as well as time slow. And I see where we're going with this. Let's go to the right first, and of course it's blocked. I see what they want me to do here. Oh, I overlooked that one block there. Well, those weren't that bad, those were timed properly. Now I just need to backtrack a little bit. And go down over here to enter a portal. So first checkpoint, good. I guess I'll need to enter in from the right side somehow. Oh, I see. These keep respawning though. Just need to grab onto the ladder over there, and blow up in this side. This doesn't seem much of a puzzle yet, but I guess it'll open up more and more as I get further and further throughout the level. So now I can access this side. Nothing to the right of over there. Next checkpoint. And now I can climb further upwards. Oh wait, I need to go in from the other side, but it's already open, so it's fine. Clever little level so far. Now we need to utilize stuff like the time slow. In order to make the jump over there. Next checkpoint, let's go to the left first. I can't make the jump over here, so I guess there's a teleporter nearby. Oh, I really should have thought about this earlier. I thought to go to the top left, not to there. Silly me. Now I know how to go through this challenge. Now I can backtrack down over there and access that area. Next puzzle. Simple one of just destroying these count bombs in the correct order, but now we can go back down over there. And now I can blow open that block from the other side, and backtrack down over here and access it from the right side. If you do the stage in the correct order, it goes by a lot faster, but for me, playing it for my first time, it's gonna take longer. Same with the last level I played by Meka. And I failed to time that properly with the elect beam. That should do the trick. Something's gonna happen on the right side, I just know it. And now we're up over here. I do also like how we're incrementing and adding new stuff. Like before we had only the Mega Buster blocks, now we have the Flash Stopper blocks, and now we also have the Dive Missile blocks. So that's how I hit that one. Oh, I see. I need to keep it alive though. And now we can slide in through there. I get the impression that I need to go to the right there, judging by that ladder. And now we open up this point. Still, this is a neat puzzle level. It's definitely doable by intermediate Mega Man players, and maybe some newbie Mega Man players too. There we go, that's how we do it. I'm not sure if that's intended, but I'll take it. What's on the bottom side too? Oh, pushes us upward. And now we have it open. Okay, I'm not stuck. Good. I don't think that's how you're intended to do that, but I'll take it. It's a lot easier than the other method. Okay, that's how you're supposed to do it. I was getting stumped a lot over there. Hopefully I don't die again. I don't want to repeat that segment, even though I know how to do it now. I would have liked if there was another large weapon capsule there. Oops. I think I need that. Yeah, I definitely need to respawn that one. And again, because I got a bit spooked by this caterpillar. This time, stay on this one. Get low enough to actually hit the enemy. That's how we do it. And now, because of that block's destroyed, I can blow up this Mega Buster block and make it back over here to a checkpoint. Oh, thank goodness. What's to the left of here? More of this stage. Because of the difficulty of the stage, I'm really hoping that it ends soon. I liked it at first, but it's starting to get to the point where it's a bit too difficult. Well, nowhere else to go other than left, I suppose. Actually, wait. What's to the right over there? Just what I did, never mind. Just wanted to make sure if something else changed. Not to mention the engine glitched out on me there. Thanks, game. Still, this is less of a puzzle than a dive missile puzzle, so I do approve of that. Just make sure to keep spamming the fire button. And there I made it. Another dive missile puzzle. Kinda reminds me of the Mega missile puzzles. Whoops. I meant to step on that one. No worries. Checkpoint's right over here. I have more qualms with this stage over the last one because it feels like the difficulty progression isn't exactly going upwards, but I'll talk about it more once I complete this level properly. Well, I made it this time, thank goodness. I died 3 times off screen, mainly due to some of the button registration not working. I should have expected that as well to be a troll teleporter. At least the checkpoints are really frequent here, so I'm not really complaining about the stage's increased difficulty. It also requires you to understand the mechanics of the flat stopper and especially the dive missile's arcing patterns. So let's get out of here. I guess this is the escape sequence of all these killer bullets that will never hit us. And jump over here, blow up this spaceship or something. Avoid that, and let's finish this. That's it. I guess that was one final set of challenges I could have done, but I decided to skip it. This stage already took over 15 minutes. I was hoping this stage to take about 5 to 10 minutes, but no. It's like Meka's previous Metroidvania level and it was longer. Sure was fun, but honestly, I much prefer Automata Fortress. Nonetheless, this is a somewhat fun level, 6 or 6.5 out of 10. Third up is Crystal Clear Ascent by Noivs with 131 plays and a score of 30. And this ranked in first place under the traditional category, which makes me wonder why this was not included as a new example level. I speculate it's because there are too many of them already, but I'm not sure. This definitely deserves to be an example level. So let's get right to it. Because this is a traditional level, we can expect to see that all the gimmicks will be first introduced in safe environments in isolation, and then recombined later on, made more challenging and more challenging, until we reach the finale where all the gimmicks and enemies will be remixed into one final stretch of challenges. At least that's what I expect, considering that this reached first place. I really like the tile set and background here, really adds to the crystal-y feeling. So first we're introduced to the Cosmic platforms. as well as the met tools in isolation. And now the cosmic platforms are put in a more dangerous environment, because now they're over a pit. I can expect this stage will be a lot easier than the previous two, though it's going to be longer. This is also teaching us to the fact that we can despawn enemies using these cosmic platforms, or even crush them. Now this is over even more dangerous to bomb. Now this cosmic platform is suspended over a more dangerous bottomless pit, where we need to face off against this Crystal Joe. Now we could have dealt with that Crystal Joe much faster by jumping into that metal cosmic platform, but that's more dangerous. So that's segment number 1. So far so good, now we have the spikes. Now we're introduced to the shield attackers. First in isolation, easier on the top and more dangerous at the bottom due to the spikes. In fact, because of that, damage boosting, I don't trust myself to avoid being skewered by the spikes. Good checkpoint placement there. Decently spaced. Gotta be a bit quick over there to dodge the Crystal Joe crystal. Now we're combining usage of the shield attackers as well as cosmic platforms. Okay, the cosmic platforms are starting to be put in more dangerous environments. Like, for example there, if you stand too long on it, then it'll take you into the spikes. Or rather, if you decide to tap jump. This danger was first introduced in the following screen. Specifically this screen with this lone cosmic platform trying to take you into the spikes. That's not how I intended to do that. That's how I intended to do that. I know damage boosting is a little bit cheating, but it makes it a lot easier for me. And might as well use it as we have access to Rush Coil. Now we're being introduced to the spines, of course. Another addition of this update is that spines are weak against more special weapons. That I do approve of. Now we're introduced to the elect beam traps here. Would have liked a checkpoint nearby though. Especially considering the challenge we just passed. And the life refill would be nice too. Because having to restart over here is kind of a jerk move. Because now we have to go through this segment again, and well, we have a new gimmick coming up. There should have been one checkpoint over there. At least it isn't too far back, but still, that one challenge over there is a bit more difficult than the rest, so that's really the only qualm I have about this stage right now. Oh, of course you can do that. I should have thought about that earlier. I was making it more difficult on my own terms. Probably put a large life capsule down there. That would be better. Oh, and I forgot I can get crushed by the Cossack platforms. Good to know. Alright, made it back here after 3 deaths. It pretty well utilizes these Cossack platforms. I just wish this stage was a little bit less spike happy. It's a little bit more restrained in terms of spikes, but still. Nah, I'm not going for the E-Tank, knowing my luck. It's gonna just result in my death. At least the enemy choice does make sense for the stage. We have the Crystal Joes, Matools, as well as the Spines, although I wish the Spines were a little bit more crystally. Just as an excess springboard because I don't trust myself with those jumps. Okay, we're nearing the end at last. This stage was decently sized, definitely the size of a traditional Mega Man level in a Mega Man fan game, 30 to 40 screens long, but at least the challenge progression was mostly nice. However, that first portion just before where we introduced the elect blocks, that was the hardest part of the stage for me at least. So the challenge progression is a little bit iffy. It feels like it spikes over there then becomes easier near the end. This last portion of the stage is easier than that middle portion, so that's why I'll give the stage about 7 or 7.5 out of 10. Other than the missing checkpoint over there, as well as some difficulty woes, it's still a pretty good stage, almost good I'd say. Tile set and enemy cohesion is nice. So that was the end of this stage. Out of the 3 stages, I'd say that Automata Fortress was my favorite one, this is my second favorite, and Escape from the Space Station Puzzle was my third favorite. Even with all my qualms, this still should have been an example level. It has its flaws, sure, but so do the traditional Capcom stages. So I thank you all for watching me through this update version 1.3 video. In the next part, well, I'll be covering several levels from the most popular queue, and then after that part, I will be covering several more viewer submitted levels. Well then, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Toodles!